A pregnant single mother mistakenly calls for help and awakens the heart of a millionaire, a mistake that changes everything, a story of love and hope. Get ready, this story will touch your heart. Subscribe and leave a like. The grey sky of July loomed over the financial district like a heavy blanket, announcing the light drizzle that would soon turn the streets into wet mirrors. On the 22nd floor of a commercial building, Ryan Mitchell adjusted the knot of his Italian tie while observing the movement below through the panoramic window. His brown eyes, inherited from his mother, reflected the fatigue of yet another frustrating meeting with the board of Mitchell Construction. At 35 years old, he bore the weight of proving he could lead the family business differently from his father, more humanely, less predatory. Mr. Ryan, the meeting ended 15 minutes ago, and you're still standing here, noted Sandra, his assistant for 8 years, a woman in her 50s who treated Ryan like a stubborn son. I just need a few minutes to process what happened in there, Sandra, he replied, running his hand through his dark brown hair that insisted on rebelling against the gel. They rejected another proposal for affordable housing. It seems building only for those who can pay millions is more profitable. Sandra sighed, recognizing the bitter tone in her boss's voice. You know your father built this empire thinking that way. Changing a 40-year mindset doesn't happen overnight. Ryan was about to respond when his phone rang. An unknown number flashed on the screen, but something compelled him to answer. Hello? The voice on the other end was laden with desperation and urgency. Please, do you still have the apartment available? I called yesterday about the ad in the newspaper. In the West Village. Ryan frowned. He had no apartment to rent, but the anguish in that female voice made him hesitate before correcting the mistake. I think you dialed the wrong number, he said gently. No, it can't be wrong. The voice trembled. I wrote it down carefully. Please, I really need that apartment. I'm 7 months pregnant. I was evicted yesterday, and I have nowhere to go. Ryan felt a tightness in his chest. There was something in the vulnerability of that stranger that touched him deeply. On the other end of the line, Anna Smith clutched the crumpled napkin where she had scribbled the number found in a classified ad in the Metro newspaper. Her fingers, swollen from pregnancy, trembled as she leaned against the reception desk of the General Hospital, where she worked as a night shift nurse. The light blue uniform was wrinkled after a whole night caring for patients in the neonatal ICU, and her light brown hair, usually tied in a neat bun, escaped in rebellious strands around her oval face. Ma'am, are you sure you dialed the right number? Ryan insisted, but his voice had lost its initial firmness. I'm sure. I wrote it down correctly, Anna replied, and Ryan could hear the sounds of the hospital in the background, the beeping of monitors, distant voices, hurried footsteps in the corridors. Listen, I've been working here at the General Hospital since 11 last night. I'm leaving now at 7 in the morning, and I need to find a place to live today. My baby is due in 2 months, and Her voice broke. I have no one else. Ryan closed his eyes. The image of his own mother, Mary Helen, appeared in his mind, a woman who had raised 2 children practically alone while her husband built his business empire, neglecting the family. He knew what it was like to grow up feeling the weight of absence, of loneliness disguised as material abundance. What's your name? He asked, ignoring Sandra's curious gaze. Anna Smith. Anna Smith. The answer came with a tired sigh. And look, I know this may seem strange, but do you have any recommendations? Any place would do, as long as it's safe for a child. I can pay up to $1,200 a month, no more than that. $1,200 Ryan spent. More than that in a single night at the restaurants he usually dined in. The disproportion hit him like a punch to the gut. Anna, I need to be honest with you. You really dialed the wrong number. I don't have an apartment to rent. The silence on the other end was so dense that he could almost feel it physically. But I can help you find something. Why? The question came out in a suspicious whisper. You don't know me. Why would you help a stranger? Ryan looked at the portrait of his father on the wall. August. Mitchell, with his severe expression and cold, calculating eyes. Why indeed? Perhaps because he was tired of being just another insensitive rich person in a world full of them. Perhaps because the vulnerability in that voice reminded him of his own loneliness, disguised as success and privilege. Because, he said slowly, sometimes we need to trust the kindness of strangers, and maybe because I know what it's like to feel alone, even when it seems like you have everything. Anna leaned against the cold wall of the hospital. There was something in that man's voice, a sincerity she hadn't expected to find. Still, years of working with people had taught her to be cautious. How do you propose to help me, and why should I trust you? We can meet in a public place. You choose where. My name is Ryan, I work in construction, and I know some people in the real estate market. Maybe I can get recommendations for good and affordable places. Anna considered for a long moment. The noise of the hospital continued in the background, reminding her that she needed to leave soon and start looking for real solutions to her very real problem. Farmer's market, she finally said. Today at 2 in the afternoon near the main entrance. I'll be wearing a blue nurse's uniform and... He looked at his prominent belly. Well, it won't be hard to identify me. Perfect. I'll be wearing a white shirt and jeans, brown hair, 6'1". Anna? Yes? Everything will be fine. I promise. After she hung up, Ryan stood still for a few minutes, staring at the phone. Sandra watched him with an intrigued expression. Can I ask what that was about? She asked. I think, Ryan said slowly, I just discovered what all this wealth I inherited is for. When Anna hung up the phone, she felt torn between hope and skepticism. 28 years of life had taught her that when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. But with 2 hours of sleep in 3 days, and a baby growing inside her while her life crumbled around her, she didn't have many options other than to bet on the kindness of a stranger who had answered the wrong number. As she walked through the hospital corridors toward the locker room, Anna unconsciously touched her belly, where she felt the gentle movements of her son. Well, little one, she murmured, it looks like we're going to meet someone today. Let's hope your mom isn't making the biggest mistake of her life. The farmer's market in New York City buzzed on a July afternoon with the chaotic energy that only it possessed. The intense aroma of spices mingled with the scent of cured cheeses, creating an olfactory symphony that opened the appetite even for the most sated. Among the colorful stalls of tropical fruits and the shouts of merchants announcing their goods, Ryan Mitchell felt curiously out of place, and yet more connected to reality than he had felt in months. He had arrived 15 minutes early, nervous as a teenager on a first date. He wore a simple white shirt, dark jeans and sneakers, a look he hoped would be less intimidating than his usual Italian suits. Still, he couldn't completely hide the signs of his privileged background. The discreet but expensive Swiss watch on his wrist, the upright posture typical of someone who attended the best schools, and above all, his hands too soft for someone claiming to work in construction. Ryan? He turned and felt the air leave his lungs. Anna was just a few feet away, still wearing the light blue hospital uniform, a simple bag slung over her shoulder, and her prominent belly showcasing 7 months of pregnancy. But it wasn't that which impressed him. It was the determination in her green eyes, contrasting with the vulnerability that showed in the tense line of her shoulders. Anna, he replied, walking toward her. I'm glad you came. She studied him for a few seconds, immediately noticing the details that didn't fit his story. "You don't look like a construction worker," she said directly, without beating around the bush. Ryan laughed, surprised by her frankness. "And you don't look like someone who gives up easily. Can I offer you an empanada? They say the ones here are the best in New York." "I didn't come here to eat," Anna replied, but her stomach protested loudly enough for both to hear. She blushed slightly. "Okay, maybe a small empanada wouldn't hurt." As they walked among the stalls, Ryan observed how Anna greeted some merchants by name. She clearly frequented the place, and the affectionate way they returned her greetings suggested that she wasn't just another customer. "Do you come here often?" he asked. "Every week. I buy fruits to make smoothies. I need to keep my nutrition up for the baby," Anna replied, accepting the cheese empanada he had bought. "And you? You don't seem like the type to visit farmers' markets." The observation hit Ryan like a bullseye. "Why do you say that?" "Your hands," Anna said simply, gesturing with the empanada. "Too smooth for someone who works in construction. Your posture is office-like, not construction site, and you pay for an empanada without even asking the price. Sign that money isn't a problem." Ryan stopped walking, impressed by her observational skills. "Are you always this direct?" "Life has taught me that I don't have time for games," Anna replied, taking a bite of the empanada. "So, who are you really, Ryan?" He hesitated, feeling the weight of the first lie he was about to construct. "I work in construction, yes, just on the administrative side, office work. I have some connections in the real estate market because of my job." It wasn't exactly a lie, but it also wasn't the whole truth. Anna studied him for a few more seconds, then nodded. "All right, for now I'll accept that version," she said, with a tone suggesting that the conversation wasn't over. "Now tell me, what kind of help can you offer?" Ryan breathed a sigh of relief that she had temporarily set the subject aside. "I know some people who work in real estate in Brooklyn, Queens, near the subway, safe places with good infrastructure, but not as expensive as the more central neighborhoods. I can make some calls." "And what would be the price for that help?" Anna asked, suspicious. "Price? Nothing in this life is free, Ryan. Everyone wants something in return. So just tell me, what do you want? From me?" The question caught him completely off guard. In his world, people did favors expecting financial return, political influence, or social benefits. But looking at Anna, pregnant, tired, with no apparent resources, he couldn't identify what she could offer that would justify his interest in helping her. "I don't want anything," he replied honestly. "Everyone wants something," Anna insisted. "Do you want to feel good about yourself? Do you want to compensate for some guilt? Or maybe—" Her eyes narrowed. "You're one of those guys who takes advantage of vulnerable women." The accusation hit him like a slap. "No, it's nothing like that," Ryan protested, perhaps too loudly, because some nearby merchants looked in their direction. Christ, Anna, I don't even know how to explain it. When I heard your voice on the phone, it touched me. Maybe because my mother went through something similar when I was a child." Anna noticed the sincerity in his indignation, but she still kept her guard up. "Was your mother a single mom?" "Not exactly," Ryan said, running his hand through his hair. "My father was always physically present, but absent in everything that mattered. My mother raised my sister and me practically alone, even though she was married." The answer seemed to touch something in Anna as her posture relaxed slightly. "And where is she now?" "She passed away 5 years ago. Cancer." The pain in his voice was evident and genuine. Anna fell silent for a few moments, observing the movement around them. An elderly woman was arguing with a fruit vendor over the price of bananas, while a family with 3 small children rushed between the stalls. The ordinary, real life pulsed around them. "I'm sorry," she finally said. I didn't mean to seem ungrateful or paranoid, but you need to protect yourself, Ryan completed. I completely understand. If I were you, I would be suspicious too. Okay, Anna sighed. Let's try this, but with some rules. First, we'll always meet in public places until I'm sure you're not crazy. Second, anything you get from me, I will pay for. It can be in installments, it can take time, but I will pay. And third, she looked him directly in the eye. The first lie I discover, it's over. Understood? Ryan felt a chill of guilt, considering he had already omitted his true identity, but something in her determination made him want to be worthy of the trust she was offering. Understood, he agreed. And Anna, your rules are fair. I would do the same in your place. They exchanged phone numbers, and Ryan promised to call in 2 days with news about apartments. When Anna said goodbye, walking toward the subway station with determined steps despite her evident fatigue, Ryan stood still for a few minutes, watching her walk away. Mr. Ryan? Sandra had appeared out of nowhere beside him carrying a shopping bag. What are you doing at the farmer's market? Sandra, what are you doing here? Buying ingredients for your dinner tonight, she replied, but her curious eyes followed Anna Smith's figure disappearing into the crowd. Was she the one who called this morning? Ryan nodded, still thoughtful. Sandra, do you know any reliable real estate agents in Brooklyn? Good places, but affordable for a nurse? Sandra studied him with renewed attention. I do. I can make a few calls. But can I ask why the heir of Mitchell Construction is looking for an affordable apartment for a stranger? Because, Ryan said slowly, starting to walk toward the exit, maybe it's time to use the Mitchell name for something that really makes a difference in someone's life. 2 days later, Anna's phone rang while she was preparing a simple cheese sandwich in the small kitchen of the boarding house where she was temporarily staying. The environment was claustrophobic, peeling walls, a persistent smell of mold, and the constant noise of other tenants passing through the thin walls. She looked at the number on the screen and recognized it immediately. Ryan! Hi, Anna. I have good news. I found 3 apartments that might interest you. All in Brooklyn, near the subway, in buildings with doormen. Anna felt her heart race. Really? And the prices? The cheapest one is costing $1,100 a month, plus $200 for maintenance. It has 1 bedroom, a small living room, kitchen and bathroom. It's not big, but it's clean and safe. She quickly did the math in her head. With her 2 jobs, the shift at General Hospital and extra shifts at St. Paul Hospital on weekends, she could save around $1,500 a month. After deducting food, transportation and basic expenses, there would be little left, but it would be possible. When can I see it? This afternoon, if you want. The agent can meet us there at 3 o'clock. Anna looked at the clock. It was 2 in the afternoon, and she had just woken up after a 12-hour shift. That works. What's the address? 40 minutes later, Anna got off at the 14th Street subway station, feeling a mix of hope and apprehension. The area was busy, with diverse commerce and people rushing about their routines. It wasn't the dream neighborhood, but it was safe and had its own life. Ryan was already waiting in front of the building when she arrived. This time he wore a blue polo shirt and jeans, keeping a casual look but still seeming slightly out of place in the neighborhood. Anna noticed he was carrying a leather folder that seemed too expensive for an ordinary administrative worker. On time, he commented, smiling. How are you feeling? Tired but hopeful, Anna replied. Where's the agent? He should arrive any moment. In the meantime, how about we take a walk around the block? You can get to know a bit of the infrastructure. They walked through the nearby streets, and Anna observed everything with clinical eyes. Pharmacy, grocery store, bakery, bus stop, health center. Ryan pointed out details she hadn't noticed: the street lighting, the proximity of a public school, the quality of the pavement. You know a lot about neighborhoods, Anna commented. It's part of the job, Ryan replied vaguely. When you work in construction, you learn to evaluate location, urban infrastructure, potential for appreciation. Potential for appreciation? Anna laughed ironically. Ryan, I just need a safe place to raise my child. I'm not looking for a real estate investment. Her laughter was musical, but carried a bitterness that Ryan recognized. It was the laughter of someone who learns early that big dreams are a luxury for those with money. Sorry, he said. Sometimes we speak on autopilot. The agent arrived a few minutes later, a 50-year-old man with a graying mustache and wrinkled suit, who greeted Ryan with a familiarity that caught Anna's attention. Mr. Ryan, how are you? Miss Sandra called me yesterday explaining the situation. Anna frowned. Sandra? Ryan blushed slightly. My colleague from work. Work. She was the one who made the initial contact. The apartment was on the 4th floor of a 6-story building without an elevator. Ryan watched Anna climb the stairs with some difficulty due to her pregnancy, but she refused any help with a firm gesture of her hand. The property was exactly as Ryan had described, small but clean and functional. The living room had enough space for a sofa and a small table. The bedroom could fit a queen-size bed and a wardrobe, and the kitchen, although tiny, had all the basic appliances. Anna walked through the apartment in silence, touching the walls, testing the faucets, checking the condition of the windows. Ryan and the realtor waited in the living room, speaking in low voices. What do you think? The realtor asked when she returned. It's perfect for my needs, Anna replied, but her expression was worried. The problem is that I need the money for the deposit and the first month's rent up front. I don't have that amount available right now. The realtor looked at Ryan, who gave a discreet nod. Look, Ms. Anna, the realtor said, Mr. Ryan here has already talked to me about this issue. He offered to be your guarantor and cover the initial costs as a personal loan. Anna turned to Ryan, her eyes shining with indignation. You did what? Anna, wait, let me explain. No! We agreed that I would pay for everything. How could you make a decision like that without consulting me? The realtor, sensing the tension, murmured something about checking the documents downstairs and quickly left the apartment. Anna, please, listen to me. Ryan tried to approach, but she stepped back. Listen to you? Ryan, you don't even know me. Why on earth would you offer to be my guarantor? That makes no sense. Because you need help and I can offer it, he replied, his voice rising. What's wrong with accepting a helping hand? The problem is that I don't know what your true intentions are, Anna exploded. Men don't do these things without wanting something in return. And even if you are different, I can't afford to owe favors to strangers. The accusation hit Ryan like a punch in the stomach, especially because he knew he was withholding important information about himself. Anna, I swear on my mother's memory that I have no ulterior motives. I just want to help. Why? She shouted, tears starting to form. Why do you want to help me? I'm a pregnant, abandoned nurse you met. By chance. There's nothing about me that justifies all this interest. Ryan fell silent for a few seconds, fighting the urge to tell the truth about who he really was, but something in her vulnerability stopped him. Because, he finally said, when you called me, I had just left a meeting where very wealthy people were discussing how to make even more money building for those who already have everything. And suddenly, out of nowhere, comes a person who needs real, concrete, human help. You reminded me that there is a world outside the bubble I live in. Anna studied him in silence, drying her tears with the back of her hand. What kind of bubble? Ryan hesitated, choosing his words carefully. A bubble where you have so many resources that you sometimes forget that not everyone has the same opportunities. Where you can solve any problem with money, but never solve real problems of real people. The answer seemed to touch something in Anna, because she sighed deeply and sat on the windowsill. "Look, Ryan, I understand that you want to help, and I appreciate it more than you can imagine, but I need you to understand one thing. I grew up in an orphanage. I learned very early that when you accept help without being able to give back, you become the property of those who helped you." The revelation about the orphanage explained a lot about her fierce independence. Ryan sat on the floor, leaning against the wall, and looked at Anna. "What if it wasn't a loan?" he asked. "What if it was a job?" "What kind of job?" "You're a nurse, right? Specialized in what?" "Neonatology and pediatric ICU, Anna replied, suspicious. "The company I work for is developing a social project. We need medical consulting to ensure that the daycare centers and health clinics in our developments are properly equipped." Ryan was improvising, but the idea didn't sound impossible. "You could help us as a consultant. The payment would be enough to cover the costs of the apartment." Anna watched him for a long moment. "You're making this up on the spot, aren't you?" Ryan blushed. "Maybe. But it's a good idea, and I can make it happen." For the first time since they met, Anna genuinely smiled. "You're crazy, you know that? That's what my sister always says." "All right," Anna finally said. "But with one condition. I want to meet the company you work for, and I want everything documented, contract, job description, everything in order." Ryan nodded, relieved. "Agreed. Can it be next week?" "Sure." Anna stood up and extended her hand to him. "Thank you, Ryan. Really." When their hands touched, both felt an electric connection that neither of them expected. Ryan held her hand for a few seconds longer than necessary, and Anna didn't pull away. "Now let's sign that lease before I change my mind," she said, breaking the moment. 2 hours later, Anna had the keys to her first apartment. As Ryan said goodbye at the building's door, she held his arm. "Ryan, just one more thing. Go ahead. If you're lying to me about anything important, I will find out. And when that happens, it will hurt a lot more than if you told the truth now." The warning echoed in Ryan's mind all the way home, reminding him that he was building a relationship based on half-truths that sooner or later would come crashing down. Later, they would come to light. A week later, Anna stood in front of the Mitchell Tower on 5th Avenue, observing the 30 floors of mirrored glass, reflecting the grey August sky. The building was imposing, with modern architecture that screamed power and wealth. She adjusted the black blazer she had bought at a thrift store specifically for this meeting. She needed to look professional, even though the fabric was synthetic and the cut wasn't perfect for her pregnant body. "Sorry for the delay." Ryan appeared behind her, slightly out of breath. "The traffic was impossible." Anna turned and studied him. He was wearing a well-tailored grey suit, a navy tie, and leather shoes that she knew cost more than her monthly salary. The transformation was impressive. This was clearly the Ryan from the workplace, not the man in jeans and sneakers she had known. "You look different," she commented. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, uncomfortable. "It's just that the dress code here is more formal. Come on, let's head up." The lobby was all in black and white marble, with a crystal chandelier that probably cost more than a compact car. Anna followed Ryan to the elevators, noticing how the security guards and receptionists greeted him with deference. "Good morning, Mr. Ryan," said an impeccably dressed blonde receptionist. "Miss Sarah has already gone up and is waiting in the conference room." In the elevator, Anna watched as Ryan pressed the button for the 22nd floor, almost the top of the building. "What position do you have at the company again?" she asked. "New projects manager," he replied quickly, avoiding her gaze. The doors opened to reveal an elegant corridor with hardwood floors and artwork on the walls. Anna recognized some reproductions of famous artists. Too expensive to be original, she thought. Sarah was waiting for them in a conference room with a panoramic view of the city. She was an elegant woman in her 50s, with perfectly styled grey hair and a beige suit that probably cost more than Anna's rent. "Anna, it's a pleasure." Sarah stood and extended her hand. "Ryan told me about your work at the General Hospital. Your resume is impressive." Anna shook her hand, noticing the expensive and subtle perfume. "Thank you. Ryan explained the social project to me, but I confess I would like to understand it better." Of course. Sarah gestured for them to sit down. "Mitchell Construction is developing a housing complex on the east side aimed at low-middle-class families. The project includes a daycare, health clinic, and recreational area." Anna frowned. "Mitchell Construction. I thought Ryan worked for a smaller company." Ryan coughed nervously. "Mitchell is our client. I mean, the company I work for was contracted to develop the social aspect of the project." "I see," Anna said, but her expression suggested she didn't fully understand. "And what exactly would my role be?" Sarah opened an elegant folder. "We need someone with your experience to review the plans for the daycare and health clinic, ensuring they meet health standards and are functional for young children. It would be a 3-month consultancy with the possibility of extension." "And the compensation?" $5,000 a month, Sarah replied without hesitation. Anna nearly choked. It was more than a third of what she earned from both jobs combined. That seems very generous for a consultancy." "Anna," Ryan leaned forward, "your knowledge is specialized, and this project can directly impact the lives of hundreds of families. You are worth every penny." There was something in the intensity of his gaze that made Anna's heart race. But there was also something that didn't fit. This whole operation seemed too elaborate for a simple consultancy. "Can I see the preliminary plans?" she asked. Sarah spread the blueprints on the table. Anna leaned over them, her professional mind taking control. Immediately, she began to identify problems: inadequate ventilation in the daycare, inefficient layout in the health clinic, lack of isolation areas for contagious cases. "Here, look," Anna pointed to the daycare plan. "The nursery can't be next to the kitchen, and you need more windows in the classrooms for the older children, and here in the health clinic." She continued pointing out flaws and suggesting improvements. Ryan watched in fascination as she transformed when discussing her work. Her green eyes sparkled with knowledge and passion, and she gestured with surgical precision while explaining each point. "Impressive," Sarah murmured. "In 10 minutes, you identified problems that our previous consultants took weeks to notice." "It's my job," Anna replied simply. "When you take care of premature babies, you learn that every detail can be the difference between life and death." "So, do you accept?" Ryan asked. Anna hesitated. Something about the whole situation still bothered her, but she needed that money. And more importantly, she felt she could truly make a difference in this project. "I accept," she finally said, "but I want everything documented." Sarah smiled. "Of course. I'll prepare the contract today." After Sarah left to arrange the documentation, Anna and Ryan were alone in the conference room. She walked to the window, looking out at the city below. "Impressive view," she commented. "Anna," Ryan approached, "I wanted to apologize for not being completely clear about some things." She turned to face him. "What kind of things?" "The company I work for. It's bigger than I let on. And my position here, well, I have more influence than I made it seem." Anna crossed her arms. "Define more influence." Ryan took a deep breath. "Let's just say, when I suggest a project, people take it very seriously." "Why?" "Because," he struggled to find words that weren't a complete lie, "because my family has important connections in the construction industry." Anna studied him in silence for a long moment. "Ryan, are you lying to me?" "I'm not lying," he replied carefully. "I'm simplifying some things." "Why?" "Because I'm afraid that if you knew the whole truth, you would run away." The raw honesty in his voice caught her off guard. "What truth?" Ryan stepped closer, his brown eyes fixed on hers. "The truth is that you affected me in a way I didn't expect. And the more I get to know you, the more I realize that you are exactly the kind of person I wanted to be. Someone who truly makes a difference in people's lives." Anna felt her heart race, but kept her voice steady. "That doesn't answer my question." "Anna, I promise I'll tell you everything, but can you give me some time? Let me prove first that my intentions are good." She studied his face, searching for signs of deceit. She saw nervousness, yes, but also a sincerity that made her want to trust him. "How much time?" "A few weeks, until you feel secure enough to hear the whole truth." Anna sighed. "All right, but Ryan, when you decide to tell me this whole truth, it better be the whole truth, because if I find out you're hiding something important after this—" "I know," he said softly. "And Anna, thank you for trusting me, even when I don't completely deserve it." As they left the building, Anna had the signed contract in her bag and a whirlwind of emotions in her chest. Ryan accompanied her to the subway, carrying his heavy briefcase full of plans and documents. "Can I ask you a question?" she said when they arrived at the station. "Sure. Why do you insist on walking me to the subway? A rich man like you must have a car." Ryan stopped walking. "How do you know I'm rich?" Anna laughed. "Ryan, your watch costs more than my annual salary. Your tie is made of Italian silk. And you have that thing that only people with money have." "What thing?" "The calmness of someone who never really had to worry about money. It's a specific body posture, a way of speaking, of taking up space." She looked him straight in the eye. "The question isn't whether you have money. The question is why you're pretending you don't." Ryan felt as if she had looked directly into his soul. "It's complicated. Most important things are. Anna, can I take you to dinner tomorrow? A simple, public place, your choice. I just want to spend more time with you." Anna hesitated. That conversation had confirmed her suspicions that Ryan was hiding something important, but it had also revealed a vulnerability in him that touched her deeply. "Pizza at Don Antonio," she finally said. "There's a pizzeria on 13th of May Street that makes the best margarita in New York City. 8 o'clock. "Perfect," Ryan smiled. "Anna?" "Yes?" "You're much smarter than I imagined, and I already thought you were very smart." As she descended the subway stairs, Anna unconsciously touched her belly, where she felt the gentle movements of the baby. "Your father is a complicated man, little one," she murmured, "but I think he can be a good man, too. We'll find out together." The pizzeria Don Antonio on 13th of May Street was exactly the kind of place Anna had deliberately chosen. A family-friendly environment, with red and white formica tables, the intense smell of oregano in the air, and waiters who treated all customers like distant relatives. It was the complete opposite of the glass and marble world where she had met Ryan the day before. Anna arrived 5 minutes late, wearing a simple navy blue dress that better accommodated her 8-month belly. She found Ryan at a corner table, visibly uncomfortable in his dress shirt, without a tie and jeans, as if he were dressed up as an ordinary person. "Sorry for the delay," she said, carefully sitting down in the plastic chair. "The bus took longer than usual." "You came by bus?" Ryan seemed genuinely surprised. "How did you think I would come? By helicopter?" Anna laughed. "Not everyone has a car, Ryan." He blushed slightly. "Of course, sorry, it's just, you could have taken a taxi, I would have paid." "And that's the problem." Anna leaned forward. "You want to pay for everything. It's almost as if you feel guilty for having money." "The waiter approached, a short, chubby man in his 60s with a heavy Italian accent. "Good evening. Are you going to have the usual?" he asked Anna with familiarity. "Hi, Mr. Giacomo. Today I'm sharing. A large margarita, please." "And to drink?" "Orange juice for me," Anna replied. "And my friend—" "Beer," Ryan said automatically, then corrected himself. "I mean, soda is fine." Mr. Giacomo watched them with evident interest before walking away, clearly curious about his Anna's companion. "You're a frequent customer here," Ryan observed. "I've been coming here since I was 15, Anna explained. "When I left the orphanage to work as a babysitter, I lived in a boarding house nearby. Mr. Giacomo and Mrs. Rosa kind of adopted me. They always gave me extra pizza when I was out of money." "Orphanage," Ryan repeated softly. "You briefly told me the other day, but since what age?" Anna hesitated, fiddling with the napkin. "Since I was 3. My mother died of an overdose. I never knew my father. I had no relatives willing to raise me." The rawness of the information hit Ryan like a punch. His own past, private school, international trips, an apartment with a view of Central Park, suddenly seemed obscenely privileged. "Anna, I'm so sorry." "You don't need to feel sorry," she said firmly. "It wasn't your fault. And look, it wasn't that bad. St. Teresa Home was well managed. I had a decent education. I learned to fend for myself. But it must have been hard." "It was." Anna looked at her own hands. "Especially because I've always been a bit intense. I questioned the rules a lot, defended the younger kids when I thought they were being treated unfairly. The caretakers didn't like that very much." Ryan smiled. "I can imagine. You're still like that, intense, protective. It's a flaw that turned into a profession." Anna laughed. "Pediatric ICU nurse. It has to be a bit pit bull, or else the kids won't survive the system." The drinks arrived, and Ryan watched as Anna graciously thanked the waiter. There was a natural kindness in her that contrasted with the toughness she needed to maintain for protection. "Can I ask you a personal question?" Ryan asked. "Sure, but I reserve the right not to answer." "The baby's father. Do you want to talk about it?" Anna fell silent for a long moment, tracing circles in the condensation on her glass with her finger. "Ryan, cardiothoracic resident. We met at the hospital. And he had plans. Residency in the United States, specialization in Europe, a brilliant international career." Her voice turned bitter. "A baby wasn't in his plans." "Did he try to pressure you to—" "No," Anna interrupted him. "He was more subtle. He started talking about timing, about how we were too young, about all the opportunities we would miss. When he realized I wasn't going to change my mind, he just disappeared." Ryan felt an irrational anger toward a man he had never met. What a coward. "He was," Anna simply agreed. "But you know what was worse. For a few weeks, I considered his words. I thought maybe he was right, that a baby would ruin my life." "What made you change your mind?" Anna gently touched her belly. "An ultrasound. When I saw the heart beating, when I realized there was a life completely dependent on me, I realized that for the first time in my life, someone was going to love me unconditionally, and that I was going to love someone the same way." The pizza arrived steaming, but neither of them moved to grab a slice. "Anna," Ryan said softly, "you're going to be an amazing mother." "How can you be sure?" "Because you fight for people you don't even know. I can only imagine what you'll do for someone you love." Anna felt tears prick her eyes, but she held them back. "Your turn. Tell me about your family." Ryan slightly choked on his soda. "My family? Yes, you know all my tragic story, but all I know about you is that you work in the construction industry and have a sister who's a doctor." "My sister's name is Brittany. She's a pediatric cardiologist, 2 years younger than me. She's been living in London for 3 years, doing her residency." "And your parents?" Ryan cut a piece of pizza with excessive precision. My father, Alan, was the typical old-school businessman. He works 14 hours a day, thinks money solves any problem, never wasted time on sentimentality. He had a heart attack 6 months ago. He survived, but he changed a lot. He decided to step back from the company. And your mother? You said she passed away. Mary Helen. Ryan's voice softened. She was special. She graduated in education, but never worked because my father thought it didn't look good for a businessman's wife to have a job. So she channeled all that energy into social projects. Anna realized she had finally touched on something real without masks. What kind of projects? Orphanages, mainly. She loved children, wanted to have more kids, but had complications during my birth. Ryan stopped speaking, realizing the connection. That's why you remind me of her, I think. The way you care for others, how you fight for justice, even when it harms you. Would she approve of you being here with me? Ryan smiled, a genuine expression that completely transformed his face. She would adore you, and she would probably scold me for not telling you the truth yet. Anna leaned forward. What truth, Ryan? He took a deep breath, clearly struggling with some internal conflict. Anna, if I told you that my family has a lot more money than I made it seem, would you run away? Depends. How much more? A lot more. Anna studied his face. Define a lot more. The kind of money that completely changes how people treat you when they find out. Oh. Anna leaned back in her chair. Like mega rich. Like, yes. Anna was silent for a few minutes, processing the information. Ryan waited, clearly nervous. Can I ask you a few questions? She finally said. All you want. First, why did you lie? Because it has happened before. People change completely when they find out. They either become interested or intimidated, or start treating me like I'm from another species. Second question, how rich is mega rich? Ryan hesitated. Rich enough that you never have to worry about money for the rest of your life. Third question, are you trying to buy me? No! The answer came out louder than necessary, causing other customers to look. No, Anna, I swear I'm not. Then why all this help? The apartment, the job, this whole interest in me? Ryan looked directly into her eyes. Because when you called that day, you were the first real person I had met in years. Everyone around me wants something. Money, influence, status. You just wanted a safe place to have your baby. Anna watched him for a long moment. You're the heir to Mitchell Construction, aren't you? His silence was answer enough. Jesus Christ, Ryan. Anna ran her hands over her face. You're practically the owner of the company that's hiring me as a consultant. Technically, it's still my father who... Ryan, Anna interrupted him. You made me do a professional presentation for your own family. Anna, please let me explain. You don't need to explain. I understand. Her voice turned cold. You felt bad for being rich, found a poor girl to help, and created an entire fantasy to feel better about yourself. That's not it. Anna, It is exactly that. Anna began to stand up. And I was an idiot to believe that someone like you could be genuinely interested in someone like me. Anna, wait! But she was already leaving the pizzeria, leaving Ryan alone with a cold pizza, and the feeling that he had lost something far more valuable than any fortune he possessed. Mr. Giacomo approached the table, watching Anna disappear into the street through the window. My Anna is a fierce girl, he said, in Ryan Mitchell's Portuguese was heavily accented. But he's a good person. You made a big mistake, huh? Ryan nodded miserably. The biggest of my life. 3 weeks passed, without Ryan being able to speak to Anna. His phone calls went straight to voicemail, his messages went unanswered, and when he tried to go to her apartment, the doorman, a short, suspicious lady in her 70s, said that Anna had given strict orders not to let him up. "The girl doesn't want to talk to you," said Mrs. Conception, the doorman, with the moral authority of someone who had seen many men hurt good women. "And believe me, she's suffering, you know. She cries every night, but she said it's better to cry now than to regret later." Ryan returned home with a heavy heart, knowing he had destroyed something precious with his well-intentioned lies. Meanwhile, Anna immersed herself in work as a way to escape her own feelings. She took extra shifts whenever possible, coming home too exhausted to think about Ryan Mitchell and how she had allowed herself to believe he could genuinely be interested in her. "Anna, you need to rest," said Marcia, her best friend and co-worker, as they had coffee in the hospital break room during the night shift. Marcia was a 32-year-old black investigative journalist who had met Anna while covering a story about working conditions in public hospitals. "You're 8 months pregnant and working like a machine." "Work distracts me," Anna murmured, stirring sugar into her coffee with mechanical movements. "Distracts you from what? From the guy you met a month ago who clearly affected you?" "From the guy who lied to me from day one," Anna corrected. "From the guy who created an elaborate fantasy because he thought I wasn't good enough for his truth." Marcia studied her intently. As a journalist, she had developed a keen instinct for when people weren't telling the whole story. "Anna, can I ask you a question without you getting mad?" "Go ahead." "Are you really furious because he lied, or are you furious because he's rich?" Anna stopped stirring her coffee. "What kind of question is that?" "The kind a friend asks when she realizes you're running from the truth." Marcia leaned forward. "How long have you known this guy?" "A month. And in that month, he helped you find an apartment, got you a job that pays more in 3 months than you earn in a year, and treated you with more respect than any man you've ever known. He lied." "Marcia, he omitted information. There's a difference." "There isn't. He let me do a professional presentation at his own company. He made me look foolish." "How did he make you look foolish? By being competent, by showing that you're great at what you do?" Marcia shook her head. "Anna, you impress those people with your knowledge, not with your connections. That's something to be proud of, not ashamed of." Anna fell silent, absorbing her friend's words. "Besides," Marcia continued, "have you stopped to think that maybe he lied because he's been hurt before? People with a lot of money learn early that everyone wants something from them. And you think I'm being unfair?" "I think you're scared," Marcia said gently. "Scared to believe that someone might actually like you, Anna Smith from the orphanage, without wanting to save you or take advantage of you." The words hit Anna like an arrow to the chest because there was truth in them that she didn't want to admit. As Anna fought her own demons, Ryan was going through his own crisis. He had cancelled important meetings and spent most days in the office, staring at the phone, resisting the urge to call her one more time. "Son, you look like a zombie," said Alan Mitchell, walking into his son's office unannounced. At 63, the family patriarch was still imposing, although the grey hair and wrinkles around his eyes showed the effects of a recent heart attack. "Dad," Ryan stood up, surprised. "I thought you were on medical leave." "I am, but I came to pick up some documents and saw you here looking like a lost puppy." Alan sat down in the armchair in front of his son's desk. "Want to tell me what's going on?" Ryan hesitated. His relationship with his father had always been complicated, mutual respect mixed with deep disagreements about values and priorities. "It's complicated. The important things always are." Alan observed his son with renewed attention. "Does it have to do with that consultant you hired for the East Side project?" Ryan stared at him, surprised. "How do you know about her?" "Ryan, I may be semi-retired, but I still know everything that happens in this company. And Sarah told me you hired a pregnant nurse as a consultant, paying well above market rates." Alan leaned forward. "I also heard you've been visiting the Brooklyn area with suspicious frequency. Did you send someone to investigate me?" "I didn't need to. You've been as discreet as an elephant in a china shop." Alan smiled slightly. "So who is she?" Ryan sighed, knowing he had no way to escape. He told the whole story, the wrong number, the meetings, the lies, the argument at the pizzeria. When he finished, Alan was silent for a few minutes. "I see," he finally said. "You fell in love with a woman who didn't know who you were, lied to her about your identity, and now you're surprised because she felt betrayed. Dad, Ryan, have you stopped to think that maybe you created exactly the situation you feared the most?" "What do you mean?" "You said you lied because you didn't want her to like you for your money. But by lying you ensured she could never really like you because she didn't know who you really were." The observation. It hit Ryan like a bolt of lightning. "So what do I do now?" "First, you stop acting like a lovesick teenager and start behaving like an adult man. Second, you decide if you really like this woman, or if she's just a fantasy of social redemption. I like her, Dad. A lot. Then you go after her and tell her the truth, all of it, and accept the consequences, whatever they may be." Ryan looked at his father in surprise. "You're not going to tell me she just wants my money?" "Son, if this woman wanted your money, she would have shown up at your door crying crocodile tears and begging for forgiveness. The fact that she disappeared from your life suggests the opposite." Alan stood up. "Besides, your mother always said the right woman would be the one who would love you even if you were poor. Maybe you found her." That night, Ryan was in his apartment in the Upper East Side, looking out the window at the illuminated Central Park, when he received an unexpected call. "Ryan Mitchell?" "Yes. Who is this?" "Marcia Smith, Anna's friend. We need to talk." Ryan's heart raced. "Is she okay? The baby?" "She's physically fine, but emotionally—" Marcia paused. "Look, I usually don't meddle in my friends' love lives, but you two are being so stubborn that someone needs to shake things up. She doesn't want to talk. To me. Because she's scared, and you're being cowardly by not insisting." "What do you mean?" "Ryan, do you really like Anna, or is she just a social project for you to feel better?" The question echoed his father's words. I really like her." "Then why did you give up so easily? If you truly love her, why aren't you fighting for her?" Ryan fell silent, realizing Marcia was right. "Anna is having her routine ultrasound tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon at the maternity ward of the General Hospital. She's going alone, as always." Marcia paused. "It would be a shame if someone showed up there to support her, wouldn't it?" "Marcia, why are you telling me this?" "Because I saw how she looked at you that day in the hospital when you didn't know I was watching. And because a pregnant woman alone shouldn't go through this without someone who cares about her." After Marcia hung up, Ryan stayed awake all night thinking. By morning, he had made a decision that would change everything. The next day, while Anna waited in the maternity ward for her name to be called for the ultrasound, she felt more alone than ever. She watched other women accompanied by anxious husbands and caring partners, feeling a tightness in her chest. "Anna Smith!" the nurse called. She stood up, took a deep breath, and headed to the examination room, unaware that Ryan was standing in the hallway downstairs, gathering courage to go up and finally tell her the whole truth. Ryan climbed the stairs of the General Hospital 2 steps at a time, his heart pounding so loudly he could hear it in his ears. In his hands, he carried a modest bouquet of sunflowers, Anna's favorite flowers, as he had discovered by observing the small vase in her kitchen. He wore jeans and a simple shirt, without a fancy watch or any other sign of wealth that might distract her from what he really needed to say. When he reached the maternity ward, he found the waiting room full of anxious couples. Anna was alone in a corner chair, flipping through a magazine without really reading it, one hand unconsciously caressing her belly. She wore a light green dress that accentuated her eyes, and Ryan felt his chest tighten as he realized how fragile and strong she looked at the same time. "Anna," he said softly. She looked up, and for a second Ryan saw pure relief in her expression before anger and pain took over. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice low but tense. "I came to accompany you to the ultrasound, if you let me." "How did you know I was here?" "Marcia told me." Ryan sat down in the chair next to her, ignoring how other patients were watching them with curiosity. "Anna, I need to talk to you. I need to tell you the truth, all of it. I don't want to hear your excuses." "Ryan, they're not excuses. It's the truth you deserve to hear from day one." Anna studied him for a long moment. There was something different about him, a raw vulnerability she hadn't seen before. "Anna Smith," the nurse called again. Anna hesitated, then looked at Ryan. "If you come in with me, you'll hear the baby's heartbeat. You'll see his face. And after that, you won't be able to just disappear from our lives when you get tired of this fantasy." "Anna, I don't want to disappear. I want to stay. Forever, if you let me." She stared at him, searching for signs of deceit, but saw only terrifying sincerity. "Okay," she finally said. "But after the exam, you're going to tell me everything. And I mean everything." The ultrasound room was small and dark, illuminated only by the screen of the equipment. Anna lay down on the table, lifted her shirt, and the doctor applied the cold gel to her belly. Ryan stood beside her, holding her hand as she offered it, both looking at the screen where the image of the baby gradually appeared. "Look at that," said Dr. Henry, a 50-year-old man with grey hair and a gentle smile. "The baby is perfect. Listen to the heartbeat." The rhythmic and strong sound of the fetal heartbeat filled the room. Ryan felt tears welling in his eyes as he realized he was hearing the life Anna carried, a life she had chosen to protect, even when everyone else abandoned her. "Do you want to know the sex?" the doctor asked. Anna looked at Ryan, who nodded. "It's a boy," Dr. Henry announced. "A boy," Anna repeated, her voice choked. "My son." Ryan gently squeezed her hand. "Our son," he said without thinking. Ryan felt embarrassed upon realizing what he had said. "Sorry, I didn't." "It's okay," Anna said softly, surprised to find that she wasn't bothered by his presumption. After the examination, they walked in silence to the hospital courtyard, a small garden with wooden benches and a few trees providing shade from the strong September sun. Ryan waited for Anna to sit down before starting the hardest conversation of his life. "My full name is Ryan Allen Mitchell," he began. "I'm the sole heir to Mitchell Construction, one of the largest construction companies in the country." Anna said nothing, just watched him speak. "My family has an estimated fortune of, well, several $billion. I have an apartment on the Upper East Side, a beach house, an imported car, all the luxuries money can buy." Ryan ran his hand through his hair. "And until I met you, all of that made me feel completely empty." "Why?" "Because I grew up watching my father use money as a weapon, bribing politicians, crushing smaller competitors, building only for those who already had everything. And I realized I was becoming just like him." Anna unconsciously touched her belly. "And then I showed up in your life as—" "What? A charity project?" "No," Ryan replied firmly. "Anna, when you called that day, you were the first real person I had met in years. Everyone around me wants something: money, influence, status. You just wanted a safe place to have your baby. Your honesty, your strength, the way you fight for those you love, all of that made me want to be a better person. So, why did you lie? Ryan took a deep breath. Because it has happened before. I've fallen for women who completely changed when they found out about my financial situation. One even sold our story to the press when we broke up. Another tried to blackmail me with intimate photos. Anna felt an unexpected pang of compassion. And you thought I would do the same? Not exactly, but... Anna, you are so independent, so proud. I was afraid that if you knew the truth from the start, you would never give me a chance to show who I really am beneath all this money. Anna was silent for a few minutes, processing everything. A nurse passed by, pushing a wheelchair with a patient, and the sound of the wheels on the concrete echoed in the garden. Ryan, do you understand why I felt betrayed? I understand, and you have every right to be furious. It's not just about the lie, Anna said slowly. It's because you decided for me. You decided that I wasn't mature enough, strong enough, smart enough to handle the truth about who you are. The observation hit Ryan like a punch to the stomach. I never thought of it that way. Well, you should have thought about it. Anna looked him straight in the eye. Ryan, I grew up in an orphanage. I learned from a young age that people make choices for me for my own good. Sisters who decided I wasn't ready for a foster family, social workers who thought certain homes weren't suitable for me, supervisors who decided which dreams I could or couldn't have. Ryan felt his throat tighten as he understood the magnitude of what he had done. When you lied to me, Anna continued, you did exactly the same thing. You decided it was better for me not to know the truth, and that hurts more than any lie about money. Anna, I'm so sorry, truly, if I could go back in time, but you can't. Anna sighed. The question is, where do we go from here? Ryan looked at her hopefully. Does that mean that maybe we can... It means I need time to process all of this, to understand if I can trust you after what happened. How much time? I don't know. Maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months. Anna stood up with difficulty. But Ryan, if we're going to try again, it will be with total honesty. No lies, no omissions, no deciding what is best for me. Ryan stood up as well. Anna, can I ask you something? Depends on what it is. Let me accompany you during the pregnancy, to the doctors, the exams, the preparations for the baby, not as a boyfriend or anything like that, just as someone who cares about you both. Anna hesitated. Part of her wanted to say no, to keep her distance until she was sure of her feelings, but another part, the part that had felt less alone during those few minutes listening to the baby's heartbeat with Ryan by her side, wanted to say yes. Okay, she finally said, but we have rules. First, no trying to impress me with money. Second, no making decisions for me. Third, total honesty about everything, even when it's uncomfortable. I accept all the conditions, Ryan said immediately. And Ryan, yes? Thank you for coming today, for telling me the truth, even knowing I could just walk away. Ryan smiled for the first time in weeks. Thank you for giving me a second chance. I promise I won't waste it. When Anna got on the bus to go home, Ryan stood at the stop, watching the vehicle pull away. For the first time in weeks, he felt something like hope. On the bus, Anna touched her belly where her baby was growing, the boy whose heartbeat they had heard together. Well, little one, she murmured, it seems your dad isn't going to give up on us so easily. Now we just need to figure out if we can trust him. An elderly lady sitting next to her smiled at her. First child, dear? Yes, Anna replied. The father seems to be a good guy, the lady observed, having witnessed their conversation at the stop. I saw you talking. He has kind eyes. Anna nodded thoughtfully. Ryan did have kind eyes. The question was whether that would be enough to build something real on the ruins of the lies he had told. October arrived in New York City, painting the city in warm colors, and with it came a delicate routine between Anna and Ryan. They met once a week, always in places. Anna had always been focused on her pregnancy. Ryan accompanied her to the prenatal classes at the General Hospital, carried her groceries at the farmer's market when she did her weekly shopping, and attended every medical appointment punctually. It was a Thursday afternoon when Anna received a phone call that would change everything. "Hello, is this Anna Smith?" The voice on the other end was formal, official. "Yes, this is she. This is the legal advisory from St. Paul Hospital. Can you come to our office tomorrow at 10 o'clock? It's regarding an urgent employment matter." Anna felt her stomach drop. "What kind of matter?" "We prefer to discuss it in person. Can you make it?" "Yes, I can." After hanging up, Anna stood frozen in the kitchen of her apartment, a cup of chamomile tea forgotten in her hand. Urgent employment matters were rarely good news for employees. The next morning, wearing her only suit, the same one she had worn for her presentation at Mitchell Construction, Anna headed to the legal office of St. Paul Hospital. The waiting room was sterile and cold, with outdated magazines and the low sound of a television broadcasting news. Anna Smith, a woman in her 40s with her hair pulled back in a tight bun and glasses, appeared at the door. "I'm Dr. Patricia from the legal advisory. Please, follow me." The office was small but organized, with shelves full of labor codes and a desk cluttered with papers. Dr. Patricia gestured for Anna to sit down. "Anna, I'll be direct. We received an anonymous complaint about your absences from work." Anna felt the world spin. "What kind of complaint?" "Someone alleged that you have been systematically absent from your shifts, leaving your post during working hours for personal appointments, and using your pregnancy to gain undue privileges." "That's a lie," Anna protested. "I have never been absent without a medical excuse, and the exits during my shifts were all authorized by supervision for prenatal appointments." Dr. Patricia consulted the papers in front of her. "Anna, I reviewed your record. You are an exemplary employee with consistently high evaluations, but the complaint was very specific, including dates and times." "Who made the complaint?" "It's anonymous, but—" The lawyer hesitated. "Anna, do you know someone named Ryan Henry Campos?" Anna's blood ran cold. "Ryan? What does he have to do with this?" "He contacted our advisory last week, claiming to be the father of the child you are carrying. He is demanding a paternity test and questioning your ability to raise the child alone." Anna felt nausea rise in her throat. "He disappeared when he found out about the pregnancy. Why would he come back now?" "According to him, he tried to reach out, but you prevented him from being involved in the pregnancy. He claims paternal rights and, well, he hired a private attorney." "What kind of attorney?" Dr. Patricia slid a card across the table. Anna read the name and felt the world collapse. "Smith and Associates, family and property law firm." "Anna," the lawyer said gently, "I need you to understand the gravity of the situation. Ryan is claiming that you are financially unstable, emotionally immature, and that the child would be better off under his custody." "He doesn't want my child," Anna said with absolute certainty. "He wants something else." "What do you mean?" Anna hesitated, then decided to tell. "Ryan found out that I have a friend with considerable financial resources. I think he is trying to take advantage of the situation." "Anna, I need to be honest with you. Your employment situation here at the hospital is complicated. Even if the complaints are false, they have created an atmosphere of distrust, and a child custody case could complicate your position even further." Anna left the hospital in shock. She wandered the streets of the neighborhood aimlessly, her phone ringing insistently in her pocket. When she finally answered, it was Ryan. "Anna, are you okay? Sarah told me you didn't show up for our meeting about the new projects." "Ryan, I need to tell you something." The urgency in her voice alarmed him immediately. "Where are you? I'll come get you." "I'm at Roosevelt Square. But Ryan, it's complicated. I'm on my way." 20 minutes later, Ryan found Anna sitting on a bench in the square, staring blankly at a non-functioning fountain. She told him everything: the anonymous complaint, Ryan's return, the threats of custody, and proceedings. "That bastard," Ryan murmured when she finished. "Anna, he can't do this." "He can and he will." Anna turned to him. "Ryan, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Anything. Have you ever been seen with me in public places, photos, social media, anything that could indicate that we have a relationship?" Ryan thought for a moment. "It's possible." "Why?" "Because Ryan is not an idiot. If he found out about you, it's because someone informed him, and the only way someone could know about you is if they saw us together." The realization hit Ryan like a lightning bolt. "Anna, do you think someone is investigating us?" "I think someone saw an opportunity and is trying to take advantage." Anna instinctively touched her belly. "Ryan, I need you to stay away from me." "What? Anna, no!" "If Ryan is trying to use our friendship against me, your presence will only complicate things. He could claim that I'm unstable, that I get involved with men for money, that I'm not a suitable mother." Ryan stood up from the bench, agitated. "Anna, I'm not going to abandon you just when you need help the most." "It's not abandonment, it's protection, for me and for the baby." "And what if I don't want to stay away?" Anna looked at him with deep sadness. "Then you will be putting your own feelings above the well-being of your child." The phrase hit Ryan like a slap. "My child? If you really care about us as you say you do, then he is your child too, isn't he? And a father does what's best for the child, even when it hurts." Ryan sat back down, his head in his hands. "Anna, there's got to be another way. If there is, I can't see it." Anna struggled to get up. "Ryan, thank you for everything, for helping me, for treating me well, for showing me that there are decent men in the world." "Anna, wait." But she was already walking towards the subway, leaving Ryan alone on the bench, staring at the broken fountain and feeling equally fragmented. That night, Ryan called Brittany, his sister, who was in London. "Britt, I need your help." "Rafa? What time is it?" "It's 2 in the morning. It's urgent. Remember when you told me you knew family law?" "Attorneys?" "I remember. Ryan, are you in trouble?" Ryan told her the whole story. When he finished, Brittany was silent for a few minutes. "Rafa, you've fallen head over heels for this woman." "I know. And she's trying to protect herself by pushing you away." "I know that too. Then stop being a coward and fight for her." "How?" "She's right. My presence only complicates things." "Ryan, you have resources, connections, influence. Use all of that to protect the woman you love instead of wallowing in self-pity." After hanging up, Ryan stayed awake all night, devising a plan. If Anna thought he would give up on her easily, she was very mistaken, but this time he would fight smart. The next morning, Ryan made a few calls that would set in motion a series of events that would change everything. The first was to the best private investigator in New York City. The second was to the most feared family attorney in the city. The third was to an old friend who worked in investigative journalism. If Ryan wanted to play dirty, he was ready to show how the Mitchells played the game, but this time it wouldn't be to destroy. It would be to protect the family he was determined to build. 2 weeks had passed since Anna had asked Ryan to stay away, and he had respected her wishes. at least on the surface. While Anna faced the pressures of the lawsuit that Ryan had initiated all alone, Ryan worked behind the scenes, like a general planning a war. Charles Morgan, the private investigator Ryan had hired, was a 50-year-old man with an unremarkable appearance who blended into any crowd. Exactly what made him excellent at his job. He met Ryan at a discreet cafe in the West Village, away from the curious eyes of New York's high society. "I have some interesting information about your Ryan Henry Davis," Charles said, sliding a brown envelope across the table. "The guy isn't as clean as he seems." Ryan opened the envelope and began to read. Ryan had lied on his resume about his medical experience, had significant gambling debts, and more importantly, he had been caught on security cameras at a nightclub on the night Anna had tried to contact him to tell him about the pregnancy, contradicting his claim that she had prevented him from being involved. "There's more," Charles continued. "The firm representing him, Smith and Associates, has an interesting specialty: blackmail disguised as family disputes. They tend to target cases where one party has connections to wealthy individuals." "They know about me," Ryan murmured. "They do. And there's more. The one financing Ryan's lawsuit is a certain Veronica Sutherland. Does that name ring a bell?" Ryan's blood ran cold. Veronica, his ex-fiancée, the woman who had sold intimate details of their relationship to the press 2 years ago. How did she find out about Anna? "Apparently she's been hiring investigators to monitor you since you broke up. When she found out about Anna, she saw an opportunity for revenge and to make money in the process." Ryan closed his eyes, feeling overwhelming guilt. Anna was being attacked because of his past, his bad choices coming back to hurt her. "Charles, I need more information. Everything about Veronica, about the firm, about how they plan to use this against Anna." "I'm already on it, but Ryan, if you really want to protect this woman, there's a more direct way." "What? Marry her?" Ryan stared at him, surprised. "What do you mean?" "Look, legally speaking, if Anna is your wife, she automatically gains a series of protections. More importantly, if the child is born within the marriage, you will be considered the legal father, regardless of DNA tests." "But she doesn't even want to see me." "Then you'll have to convince her that this is the best way to protect her child." While Ryan absorbed this information, Anna was living her own hell. She had received a subpoena to attend a preliminary custody hearing, where Ryan would present his allegations about her inadequacy as a mother. She was in the kitchen of her apartment, trying to eat a sandwich that her stomach rejected when the phone rang. "Anna, it's Marcia. Turn on the news channel. Now!" Anna grabbed the remote with trembling hands. On the screen, a reporter was in front of the General Hospital. A scandal involving public officials and possible nepotism. According to anonymous sources, a pregnant nurse may have improperly benefited from connections with influential businessmen to gain privileges at work. Anna slumped into her chair. They didn't mention her name directly, but anyone who knew her would know who they were talking about. The phone rang again. "Anna, it's me, Ryan. Did you see the news?" "I did," she replied, her voice breaking. "Anna, I need to tell you something. This is all revenge. My ex-fiancée is behind it all." "Your ex-fiancée? Ryan, what story is this?" "Veronica Sutherland. We broke up 2 years ago in a complicated way. She blames me for her modeling career ending and has been trying to find ways to get back at me ever since." Anna felt nauseous. "And she decided to get revenge through me?" "Anna, please let me explain in person. There are things you need to know." "I can't, Ryan. Every time we meet, things get worse for me." "Anna, listen. I know a lawyer, Dr. Edward Vasquez, who can help you." "Help? It's the best in the country for family law." "How am I going to pay for an expensive lawyer?" "I'll pay." "No. Ryan, how many times do I have to tell you that I don't want your charity?" "It's not charity, it's protection." "Anna, These people are dangerous. They will use anything against you." Anna closed her eyes, feeling the tears roll down. "Ryan, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of fighting against an entire system." "Anna, don't say that. You are the strongest person I know. I'm just a pregnant nurse and alone. I have no way to fight against rich and powerful people." "But I can," Ryan said firmly. "Anna, marry me." The silence on the other end of the line was so thick that Ryan thought she had hung up. "What?" she finally asked. "Marry me, now, before the hearing. If you are my wife, I can protect you legally. And when the baby is born, he will automatically be my legal child." "Ryan, have you lost your mind? That's not how marriage works." "Anna, I love you," he simply said, "and I know you feel something for me too. Maybe it's not the romantic proposal you deserve, but it's a way to protect our family." "Our family?" "Yes, ours, because that's what we are, Anna. You, me, and this baby that's coming. And I will fight for us with everything I have." Anna was silent for a long moment. "Ryan, I need to think." "How long?" "Until tomorrow. The hearing is on Monday. If we're going to do this, it has to be before." After they hung up, Anna sat on the couch, her hands on her belly, feeling the baby move. "And now, little one, your mother marries a man she has known for 2 months to protect us? Or do I risk losing you to a father who doesn't really want you?" The baby kicked hard, as if giving his opinion. That same night, Ryan received a call from Dr. Edward Vasquez. "Ryan, I've reviewed the case. It's more serious than we thought. They have fabricated evidence, but well-crafted. Witnesses who will swear that Anna is unstable, medical records suggesting self-neglect. Can they do that? They can, and they are. Ryan, your idea of marriage is good, but it's not a guarantee. You will need more." "What kind of more?" "Evidence of Rodrigo's bad faith, proof that this is a scheme orchestrated by his ex-fiancée, and ideally, getting him to voluntarily drop the case. How do we do that?" "Leave it to me." "But Ryan, are you sure you want to get this involved? It could destroy your reputation, harm your business." Ryan looked out the window of his apartment at the city lights. He thought of Anna, alone and scared in her small apartment. He thought of the baby growing inside her, the boy whose heart they had heard together. "Dr. Edward, my reputation means nothing if I can't protect the people I love. Do whatever it takes." The next morning, Anna woke up with a decision made. She called Ryan before even having coffee. "I accept," she simply said. "Anna, but with conditions. First, a simple civil marriage, only with necessary witnesses. Second, you understand that this is not a real marriage, it's an agreement to protect my child. Third, when all this is over, we will evaluate if we really want to be together or if we separate amicably. Anna, about it being a real marriage, Ryan, I need to believe that you are doing this for the right reason. If you are doing it out of pity or guilt, you will end up hating me. If you are doing it out of love, then you will wait until I'm sure of my feelings." Ryan closed his eyes, knowing she was right. "Understood. Anna?" "Yes. Thank you for trusting me, even when I don't deserve it." "Don't thank me yet, Ryan. First, let's see if we can win this war." 2 hours later, they met at the civil registry office. 2 attorneys as witnesses, and had one of the strangest marriages in history. A convenience union that hid real feelings neither of them was ready to confess. As they signed the papers, Anna touched the simple ring Ryan had bought. "For the record," he had said, "it has to look convincing." But when he slid the ring onto her finger, they both felt they were doing something much deeper than a simple legal agreement. The war was just beginning, but at least now they would fight together. The custody hearing was scheduled for Monday morning at the John Smith Courthouse in downtown New York City. Anna woke up before dawn, nauseous not only from the pregnancy, but from the anxiety that had consumed her stomach for days. Beside her in the bed of the small apartment, Ryan slept restlessly, mumbling something incomprehensible in his sleep. They had spent the last 3 days as husband and wife only on paper, Ryan sleeping on the couch and Anna in the bedroom. The situation was strange, too intimate for strangers, too formal for a real couple. But his presence calmed her in a way she hadn't expected, especially when she felt the strong Braxton Hicks contractions that had started the previous week. "Ryan," she called softly, touching his shoulder, "it's time." He woke up immediately, his hair tousled and a mark from the couch on his face. "How are you feeling?" "Nervous. And you?" "Ready to end this once and for all." As they got ready, Ryan shared the news Dr. Vasquez had discovered over the weekend. "Charles got evidence that Rodrigo has gambling debts with dangerous people. More importantly, we found out that Veronica promised to pay those debts if he can win the case and eventual alimony." Anna stopped brushing her hair. "So it's all about money?" "It always was. Rodrigo doesn't want our child, Anna. He wants a guaranteed source of income." The word "our" echoed in Anna's chest, warming something she wasn't ready to name. The courthouse awaited them at the entrance, a stylish man in his 60s with grey hair and an imposing presence that radiated competence. With him was a young woman carrying several folders. "Anna, Ryan, this is Dr. Mary, my associate. She will be our secret weapon today." Anna watched Ryan through the glass. Of the hearing room, he wore an expensive suit, clearly new, and was animatedly conversing with his attorney. Beside him, Anna recognized the woman from the photos Ryan had shown, Veronica Sutherland, impeccably blonde in a dress that cost more than Anna's monthly salary. "She came in person," Anna murmured. "Her mistake," Dr. Edward commented. "It will make it much easier to prove this is a revenge-driven action." The judge, Judge Helen Fields, was a woman in her 50s, known for her impartiality and zero tolerance for procedural games. She observed the parties attentively as everyone settled into the room. "Good morning. We are here to review the request for temporary custody filed by Mr. Ryan Henry Davis regarding the unborn child of Ms. Anna Smith Mitchell." Anna still flinched at hearing her new surname. Ryan's attorney, Mr. Smith, stood up. "Your Honor, our client seeks only to exercise his legitimate paternal rights. Ms. Anna Smith has demonstrated emotional and financial instability, in addition to having hastily married a man she barely knows, indicating a lack of judgment." Dr. Edwards stood up calmly. "Your Honor, I would like to present some evidence regarding the true motivations behind this action." He began to methodically lay out Ryan's gambling debts, Veronica's payments, evidence that Ryan had lied about trying to contact Anna, and most importantly, the phone recordings where Veronica admitted to using the lawsuit as revenge against Ryan. "Furthermore," Dr. Edward continued, "I would like to call a witness." To everyone's surprise, Marcia entered the room. Anna looked at her confused. She didn't know her friend would be called to testify. Dr. Marcia Smith is an investigative journalist and the best friend of the respondent. She can testify about Ms. Anna's character and the circumstances of her relationship. With Mr. Ryan, Marcia provided detailed testimony about how Ryan had abandoned Anna, how she had struggled alone throughout the pregnancy, and how Ryan had come into her life offering genuine support. "Your Honor," Marcia said, looking directly at the judge, "I have known Anna for 5 years. I have seen her care for dozens of babies as if they were her own children. I have seen her work while sick, sleep in the hospital when a child needed her, spend her own salary buying medications for underprivileged families. If there is anyone in this room who should not have custody of a child, it is not her." When it was Ryan's turn to testify, he crumbled under Dr. Edwards' questions. He admitted that he had not tried to contact Anna, that he didn't even know when the baby was due, and that he had made no preparations to welcome a child. "Mr. Ryan," Dr. Edward asked, "can you tell us what Miss Anna's blood type is?" "I don't know." "Do you know if she has any drug allergies?" "No." "Do you know the name of the doctor overseeing the pregnancy?" "I don't know." "But you are here seeking custody of a child whose mother you clearly do not know. Why?" Ryan looked at Veronica, who was discreetly signaling for him not to answer. Because it's my right as a father." "Mr. Ryan, how much did Ms. Veronica Sutherland promise to pay off your debts if you won this case?" Ryan's attorney stood up. "Objection. Leading question." "Sustained," said the judge. But Anna saw that she had perfectly understood the insinuation. During the break, Anna and Ryan walked down the courthouse hallway. "I think we're winning," Ryan said. "Ryan, regardless of what happens today, I want you to know that I am grateful for everything you have done, for how you have treated me, for respecting my boundaries, for fighting by my side." Ryan stopped walking and looked at her. "Anna, can I tell you something?" "Of course. These past few days, living with you, taking care of you, preparing for the baby's arrival, have been the happiest days of my life, not because you need me, but because you let me be a part of your life." Anna felt tears in her eyes. "Ryan, you don't need to say anything right now. I just wanted you to know." When they returned to the room, Dr. Mary presented the final evidence. Bank documents showing that Veronica had paid off Ryan's debts the week before, and a signed contract between them stating that she would receive 60% of any amount obtained through the lawsuit. Veronica tried to get up to leave the room, but the judge stopped her. "Ms. Veronica, you will remain. There are indications of conspiracy for extortion, and this case will be forwarded to the district attorney's office." The judge's decision was clear and emphatic. The request for temporary custody is completely denied. Furthermore, I order that Mr. Ryan Henry Davis be prohibited from approaching the respondent and her child under penalty of imprisonment. I also order the opening of an investigation to ascertain the crimes of extortion and conspiracy evidenced in this case. When they left the courthouse, Anna allowed Ryan to embrace her for the first time since they had married. There, on the sidewalk, under the strong midday sun, she finally let the tears of relief and gratitude flow. "It's over," Ryan murmured in her ear. "It's over, and we won." "We," Anna repeated, enjoying the sound of the word. 2 weeks later, Anna was in the kitchen preparing breakfast when she felt a contraction different from the others, stronger, longer, accompanied by a pressure sensation that she recognized immediately. "Ryan!" she shouted. He came running in, still in his pajamas. "What is it?" I think it's time." Ryan panicked for exactly 5 seconds, then took control. He grabbed the bag they had been preparing for weeks, helping Anna to get ready. He dressed her and took her to the hospital with a calmness she didn't know he possessed. 12 hours later, at 11:47 p.m. on a November Tuesday, Michael Mitchell was born, 3.5 kilograms of pure miracle, with dark hair like his adoptive father and green eyes like his mother. Ryan cried when he held his son for the first time, whispering promises of love and protection that Anna knew he would keep. "Thank you," she said to him when they were alone in the maternity ward, Michael sleeping in her arms. "For what?" "For calling the wrong number that day," Anna smiled. "For answering the phone when a desperate stranger needed help. For becoming the man I didn't know I was looking for." Ryan gently kissed her forehead. "Anna, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Our marriage, is it still just on paper?" Anna looked at Michael, then at Ryan, the man who had fought for them, who had proven his love through actions, not words. "No," she said simply. "It's no longer just on paper." Does that mean? It means I love you, Ryan Mitchell. And we want you to be more than just Michael's legal father. We want you to be our husband and a real father. Ryan then kissed her, a kiss that sealed not only their love but the beginning of a family built on truth, trust, and the realization that sometimes the best things in life start with the right mistake at the right time. 3 months later, they renewed their vows in a simple ceremony at the farmer's market, surrounded by true friends, James, Mrs. Johnson, Sarah, and Dr. Edward. Michael slept in his mother's lap, oblivious to the fact that he had been the most efficient Cupid in New York City. And when Anna looked at Ryan repeating the vows that this time came from the heart, she knew she had found not just a husband, but a partner for all the adventures life still had in store for them.